Have you ever wondered how much your house is worth? Well, if you're like me and most homeowners in America, you most certainly have. Welcome to my channel. I'm Jesse Kern, the singing Realtor. Welcome home, and I'm here in Des Moines, Iowa. I make videos weekly that go over real estate related questions and topics in the Des Moines, Iowa metro. So subscribe to the channel if you're interested and ring that bell. I'm going to give you a fairly simple and easy formula to figure out just how much your house is worth. Before I do that, I want to lay a couple of ground rules, or not really rules, but I just want to lay the framework for you. The best way to honestly know how much your house is worth is to ask a real estate professional to come over, see the property, and evaluate it, to look up comparable properties that are currently on the market and that have recently pinned it. Every house is really just as unique as the people that live in it, so it's very difficult to do overarching generalizations in terms of how much your house is worth. However, I am going to help you with that a little bit here today. So, number one, the best way to know how much your house is worth, have a realtor come over. They will look up comparable active and pending properties. When a real estate agent looks at the value of a property, they're looking really for actives and pendings because they're looking for active competition. When you list your house, you're entering a competition. So the best way to gauge what active competition is doing in the present is to see what's on the market, how much they're worth, and what's recently pended or accepted a contract, how many price reductions they took, and how many days on the market they were before they received an offer. Another reason it's best to have a real estate professional, a realtor, come look at the property is it really depends on your price point. If in your market you're in the luxury price point, here in the Des Moines metro, that's $500,000 plus, those properties really sell for their unique characteristics, location, upgrades, and so forth that are inside them. If it's a lower price point, say around the average $200,000 to $250,000, it's much easier just to kind of plug and play numbers and that kind of thing. So to really get the best evaluation of the value of a property is to have a realtor come and evaluate it. Ooh, Mr. Singing Realtor, you sure do talk fast. Can you slow down? I thought you were raised in Texas. They don't talk as fast there, especially if we're going to be doing math. You could have an appraiser come out and appraise the property. The main difference here is appraisers always look at solds, meaning what's already closed. So that's going to tell you the past, what the market has done. An agent, a realtor, will tell you what the market is doing based on the actives and pendings. So when appraisers look at sold only properties, if the market's going up and they're looking at properties that closed, in the last 6 months, they might give you a price that's too low. Or if the market's going down and they use comparables that were when the market was higher, then they might give you a price that's more than what the property's worth in the current market. Seasonality is always a factor, and there's 4 seasons of the year, and the market's always shifting in some way. I've also noticed over the years that when appraisers come out and appraise a property and there's no purchase agreement attached to that appraisal, the amount tends to be a little bit higher than what it might be if there was a purchase agreement. Because when an appraiser receives a purchase agreement with a certain price on it, it's basically defend this price. If there's no purchase agreement and the appraiser's just looking for what all is out there and there's no price to defend, it could affect if it's truly a market value number that they give you. Generally speaking, I've seen those numbers be a bit high. Now, many websites and apps today have a logarithmic or algorithm-based method of computing the value of properties. The only challenge with these, in my perspective, is, again, they don't give the individual attention that each property really deserves. Like I said, Each house, each home is as unique as the people that live in it, and it's best when it can be given that kind of care and attention by a professional realtor or appraiser who can come out to the property and look at it. Another method that people often rely upon is price per square foot. Now, I personally don't use that because that assumes that everything is equal, that a house that's 1,000 square feet is worth half as much as one that's 2,000 square feet. Well, maybe, but what if the smaller house overlooks the ocean or a lake and the bigger one is just in the middle of the neighborhood with a bunch of other houses around it? So again, every property is unique. Price per square foot doesn't take into consideration the quality of the upgrades or what's in that home. So it's best really to have it individually investigated and looked at. So as promised, the most reliable generic kind of formula that you can use to evaluate the value of your house if you don't want an agent or an appraiser to come out and look at it is to use the national, or better yet, your local average year over year. For example, historically, the national average is 5% that homes increase in value over time. So basically 5% per year, the housing market rises in value. Now in 2020, it actually went up 9%. That is like huge. Some years it doesn't go up that much. We really want to keep it around 4%. In Iowa, our state average year to year is usually about 3%. And depending on what part of the state you're in, it could be up to 6%. Here in the Des Moines, Iowa metro, there's more demand here than rural parts of the state. So your property value could have gone up 3 to 6% per year. So if you're going to use this method or this kind of thinking to determine your value, you would want to take the number of years times whatever the average increase is per year. So for example, a house that last sold in 2016, and this is 2021, that's 5 years ago. So if the Iowa average is 3%, so that's 5 years, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So potentially, according to this theory, that property will have gone up 15% in the last 5 years. So for easy math, let's say the house is worth $200,000. So 1.15 times $200,000 would be $230,000. So generally speaking, a property that sold 5 years ago for $200,000 in Iowa would be worth $230,000 today. Now, like I said, some parts of Iowa go up as much as 5 or 6%. So if you want to base it off 6% because you're in a hotter suburb of Des Moines, say, for example, then that would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, or if you're doing 6% per year, that would be 30% increase. So 1.3 would be $260,000 if the property sold for $200,000 in 2016. So again, if you want, in my opinion, the most effective general formula to figure out your house's value would be to use the national, or better yet, local average of how much the housing market has increased year over year for the number of years since you bought the property. However, there's a caveat with this. We had that market crash, Great Recession, whatever we want to call it, back in 2008 and 9. It affected the country at different times. The Midwest didn't get hit as hard as soon, so the market took a dip and then it went back up. So if you've had your house from before that time period, it could be a little bit skewed to use that formula. That's why it's best really to have a realtor or an appraiser come out and see the property and evaluate the condition and what other similar homes are going for in the present market. The date of this recording, February 2021, we've been in a seller's market consistently for a number of years, so prices have gone up consistently, regularly if we ever hit a buyer's market, then that will, or when we hit a buyer's market, then that could change this calculation on this progression. If you want help slowing down, you can always sing your message, Mr. Singing Realtor. If you found the video helpful today, feel free to give it a like. You can also subscribe to the channel, make a comment. I answer all comments myself. If you want more information about selling your house, check out my video that goes over all the costs to selling a house, and have a blessed day.